Hey y'all, Kevin Hutchison here with Realty Austin, and I am grateful to be a part of Stories Inside the Man Cave, a homegrown podcast just like my own business.
Wake your ass up
or take a damn nap.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
It's time.
Sean, you were twerking. That's going to happen.
Murph, don't be a dick all your life.
It's one of the more fun podcasts I've ever done.
Hey, I tell you what, if you're not talking about sports in the man cave, I bet not say you not a fan.
That's it.
You know what? This is history for Stories Inside the Man Cave, the first live episode that is. And I had to bring a guy in who may be my brother, and I don't know it because, in case the world doesn't know it, Adam Wags Wagner, I am adopted. So we could be related because our personalities are very similar, or am I off base on that?
No, we're pretty cut from the same cloth, as they like to say.
I like that. And the thing about it is I had this idea with Wags to bring him in and just be a guest co-host. But you have a story that is, I think a lot of people need to hear, because not only did you serve our country, but you found a way to get to your, finish your college education at UT, and then you got into the sports talk radio biz. But before we get to that, Stories Inside the Man Cave, this is episode 116. Obviously, Jim Saxon State Farm is one of our big sponsors, but this first segment is brought to you by our good friend, longtime friend of mine, Kevin Hutchison of Realty Austin. He knows Austin. He knows the real estate market. He's seen it blossom from in a short period of time. And we went to high school together, and now he has expanded his knowledge to the San Antonio market. So for all of your real estate needs, Kevin Hutchison of Realty Austin. And if you're watching this, the previous 115 episodes have been recorded, and you've seen them drop. And if you don't know who the hell I am, my name's Sean Clench. Started this with the Man Cave podcast OGs, that being Big Mike, Coach Mo, and Hardball Harge way back last year, or actually in 2020. But that is where we are now. Fast forward to 2022, and you are witnessing history. And I want to bring in my guy, Adam Wags Wagner.
Thanks for having me, Sean. I appreciate it, man.
100%. I want to get into your story. Tell the people where you were from. You went to the University of Texas, but before that, and I've got to revise something. There's a typo here. It's not United States. It is United States.
Yes,
Marine
sir.
Corps.
United States Marine Corps.
Yeah, I don't want to get
Corps with an S. Corps with an S. Make sure they're
United States Marine Corps. Where are you from, Adam Wags Wagner?
How people from Pennsylvania always say that they're from Pittsburgh and they're not really from Pittsburgh. I'm kind of the same way in Maryland. I'm from Baltimore, but I'm not really from Baltimore. I'm just on the outside skirts of Baltimore. I had family that lived inside of Baltimore City, so my grandma and all that. But I also had family. I come from a divorced family, as most Americans do around, or I'd like to think that most of them do. But I had a family that lived in Frederick, Maryland, and family that lived in Baltimore, Maryland. And Frederick, Maryland is what people maybe referred to as the Blair Witch. Have you heard of that story? Burkittsville, Maryland, like all that made up bullshit. Yeah, there's nothing happened in those woods. I'm just telling you right now, man. Y'all got jobbed on that one, man. Put a lot of money into a whole bunch of bad camera work, that's for sure. Blair Witch Project is what I'm talking about. No, it grossed a lot of money, but that's where I'm from, man. And then just left around once 9/11 happened, that everybody needed a call to, or I guess people that didn't have something were looking for a call to action. And I really wasn't doing much of anything, man. I had fallen short on a football career. I thought I had a half scholarship to a Division II school at Shepherd, and that fell through. And just a whole bunch of ins and outs, and then finally needed something to fall back on. And then, unfortunately 9/11 happened, and that was kind of like, got my ass in gear, and I enlisted into the military. And hell, man, 11 years later threw me, put me all over the globe, from North Carolina to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii I moved here to Austin, Texas, settled here, and got accepted to the University of Texas and got a degree in politics. Thought I was going to be a politician, and holy shit, was I wrong. Yeah, and then was listening to Chad and Kevin on the horn, and I was miserable leaving work one day, and I was just like, man, it sounds like these guys are having a fun time. Just, having a conversation, talking about sports, talking about life, chopping it up.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day I went down to the horn and I met Christina Killingsworth, the probation. God, my history's coming out.
The real story is surfacing now.
It's starting to arise, man. But no, I met Christina Killingsworth, the promotions officer and manager down there at the horn, and she let me in the door, and I said, hey, could you maybe take some free work? Started as an intern for like 2 months, and then started producing softball games. Andrew Haynes is still the talent there calling games, and from there I learned from the great Brad Kellner and how to be a producer.
BK legend,
BK baby, and then started producing for Bucky and Aaron. And the Wagner Wire happened to be just a school project at the University of Texas in my sports management group, and it turned into a website, and then turned into a podcast, and now it's on the horn, and it's Austin's #1 fantasy sports show in Texas, or in Austin, Texas.
I think Twitter is usually the best way to follow you. I mean, I know you're on all social media.
I'm on, yeah.
But for the Wagner Wire,
it's not branded all over the place though, Sean. Like I'm not the fake Wags on Twitter, and then I'm the Wagner Wire on Instagram,
right?
And then I'm Adam Wagner on Facebook. I'm all over the damn place, man. You got to get that branding down.
But
anyways, I'm very grateful to be here with Stories Inside the Man Cave, man.
Oh, it's been a fun journey, and as it is growth. You got to constantly evolve, and that's a story of really everybody, all of us, regardless of whatever career you're in. I mean, look at the two of us, and there's different seasons in life, different chapters. I had a 21-year chapter in the media, and here's my chapter now, pharmaceutical sales. Glad to be a part of it. A lot to learn, and now we crossed paths when I was still in the media. And you and I are still employed on the side doing high school football.
Right. I do play-by-play high school football and still anchor on the horn on Sunday mornings, 9 to 12. But I love entertainment. It's just it's not exactly the most lucrative field. That's the only thing.
No. That's a good way. We have the freedom on these podcasts, and you do a wonderful job on your show on Sunday mornings. A lot of energy. I mean, it goes.
You gotta bring it, baby.
Man, bring it. You bring your A game 100%. And just real quick, for those of you, if you're watching, we want to hear from you. Submit those comments. We'll pull them up one at a time, and we'll acknowledge if you want to make fun of my forehead or anything like that. And ask Wags a deep question or ask him about the real story.
Oh, we got some AMA. Ask me anything, baby.
Do that. He is very free, open. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Stories Man Cave, and search for our Instagram page. There's a lot of content.
I got to be completely transparent, though. The better stories usually come out when I'm sitting next to you on a bar stool. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
if I'm right next to you and we're sharing a beer or other party favors and festivities. I mean, hell, that's when all the real stories come out. That's when
those are the best stories.
Yeah, that's the story that you're not supposed to tell around your grandma.
So, what is your best ATX bar watering hole where these stories about the fake Wags are real stories that never surface?
Dude, I gotta tell you, man, I'm a very simple man. And Pluckers just has everything that I need, and I don't really venture too far from the Lakeline Pluckers, man, unless it's another Pluckers.
There you go.
I mean? But nah, dude, I'm just give me a place where I can get a good Austin beer. Austin Beer Works has some of the best beer that I drink, that I consume, and usually I can just put myself down there with a nice Fire Eagle or, Black Thunder, whatever. Whenever the seasonal beer comes out, Black Thunder is usually my go-to there. But I mean, Pluckers, man, Pluckers is the way to go. You give me 20 Gold Rush wings and some Holy Mac, and holy shit, do we got some stories coming out.
Austin Beer Works, I endorse Pearl Snap. That's
absolutely
mine.
Pearl Snap. That's a good German Pilsner. I like that.
It's fabulous. It's the first taste is somewhat skunky, but the second, give it at least 2 or 3.
That's the hot. You're tasting all those bold hops that you got there, man. The Fire Eagle is really good for me, man. I think that's just America in a can.
That's America.
Yeah, baby.
America in a 12-ounce can. I love it. So I got to ask you this: we talked about the sports talk radio journey.
Sure.
One thing that I admire about you expand your horizons, and you are quite knowledgeable about the fantasy sports realm of things and gambling. And gambling is a huge.
I'm a fan of money in my pocket.
We all love it. You can it can be a second income for a lot of people. So gambling and fantasy advice, that's a broad question, a broad stroke of the brush. Where do you start?
Well, first off, Sean, what we like to be called in the industry is consultants here. And no, just messing around. Man, we're I mean, we're your cousin. You know what I mean? We're your cousin that you need to get all the green in your pocket. Honestly, dude, so I got into fantasy sports because I noticed that there wasn't a niche out there yet. Like the niche was there, but no one was utilizing it. Everybody was talking Longhorn football. I mean, hell, I can talk I graduated from the University of Texas, man. I know how to talk Longhorn football. I know how to talk Longhorn baseball, but I'm not saying that the market is saturated for it, but in Austin, Texas, everybody's talking about it. I needed something that I could put my foot in there and differentiate myself immediately. And the way I saw fantasy sports is, I'd never be able to be off the air. I'd always constantly have a show going because fantasy sports doesn't just stop. It's constantly going around. I mean, hell, you got NASCAR, you got golf, you got esports now. I mean, people don't realize that, or they fail to remember, is that when this whole pandemic started kicking off and we were relying on or we were missing our sports, right? We were missing our reality sanctuary that we always try to go to escape the shitty parts of life that we see on TV. And for me, that sanctuary is sports, right? And without it,
always has been.
Exactly. Without it, I had a gap in my life, a void in my life that I was trying to fill, and it just happened to be professional wrestling that we leaned on, and esports, like people playing video games. Like you were betting on people playing video games, so I had something to talk about. Where a lot of national pundits and local pundits didn't have anything to talk about because there wasn't any sports.
That's the key. And you said that it's sports. I think obviously
you said evolve, brother, and that's the key word. It's being able. Evolution is going to happen, in life, right? And you have to be able to assimilate in other forms of marketing too. Like it's constantly rebranding and branding yourself, right? Branding your name, branding your product, and noticing and identifying your target demographic.
And that's it. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's pivoting.
Really, it's common sense to me, man. I don't know.
And the word pivot, I think everyone knows the definition now. The one thing that, if anything, the last 2 years, we know the importance of sports in people's lives. Sure. It's a distraction, but it's also very important. And it's also something that, how can I say this? Takes your mind off things and makes you realize that it's not as bad as it may seem.
Right. It's a necessity in life. It's just a reality check, to be 100% honest with you, man.
It is a reality check, 100%. So I want to know, just so people get to know you a little bit more. I want to know. Have you ever seen?
I've seen a lot. Brother.
Yeah. What's your pet peeves, man?
My pet peeve,
what annoys the hell out of you?
I almost said the F word. I can't stand socks and sandals. I just can't. And I can't stand when you tuck your shirt in and you don't have a belt on. Don't tuck it in.
That's annoying.
That's some of the biggest pet peeves that I have. No, it's I don't know. And I don't really have too many things that bother me that much anymore. Politics bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I think I think we're all too busy pointing fingers at each other to actually sit back and understand that listening is the most important aspect, especially in the past 3 years, that we are failing to do. A lot of this and not enough, not enough. Well, come on, man, open arms and let me hear something that you actually got to say. It just feels like everybody's trying to get their frustrations and their problems off of their shoulders, and which, I mean, rightfully so. Like, we're all going through it, but you got to remember at the end of the day, man, and this is going to sound cliche because it is an old adage, tough times don't last, tough people do. We all know that. But I mean, somebody at the end of the day probably has it a lot worse than you do, man. So kind of like I just try to keep that in mind, and really, man, I'm sitting here, I'm breathing, man. I'm working from home. I get paid to work from home. Like I used to think that, I was going through a rut or whatnot, but I mean, I think that's just life, man. And you know me, I'm a gamer, brother. And I wanted to save this, for, that old, I guess, reflections, like at the end of your second segment. But I got to tell you, dude, like right now, man, life is like Frogger. You know what I mean? Like, you remember how in Frogger you had the lily pads rolling down the stream and you had the cars crossing the street and you had to get across? Well, those are opportunities and difficulties in life that you got to weave through, right? And sometimes you're like Frogger and you got to jump across the street to get to your next opportunity. And that opportunity could be going down a lily pad just on the stream, right? But you got to find a way to go on that lily pad and then get to the prairie or the riverbank where the frog can meet the rest of the frogs and get a level up, because life's all about leveling up, Sean.
It is about leveling up, and stay away from those big teeth of crocodiles.
That's what I'm talking about, man. They'll get you, man. Watch out, because sometimes them assholes get up on that log.
They do, and they'll spin the damn thing.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, life's like Frogger, man. Opportunities come and go. You just got to find your path, man.
I love that analogy and comparison. It's true. That is one of the most colorful but accurate comparisons.
Yeah, we try and keep it very simple, man.
That's right.
Well, hell, if a 3-year-old can understand it, I can understand it.
Yeah, 100%. We make life too difficult,
right?
And I could not agree with you more on what you just said and comparing life, man. Because we got to make the most of it. And never look back. Never look back.
Absolutely, man. These past 2 years have been, 2.5 years been rough for everybody, dude. Recalibrate your life, realign your life, and make the best of it.
It's simple as that. And yeah, we need to listen more than speak.
Listen.
And that's the one thing that bothers me about people, that we don't listen enough.
And we're very quick to turn on people too, right? Like, and of course, I always heard that growing up. You're only as good as your last trip, which is true. Because we forget about the good that a lot of people do just off of one little bad thing that they do lately. And that little incident that they have, it doesn't define their character. I mean, their character is defined by everything that they've done throughout their life, just not the little speck of white shit that's on top of the chicken turd or whatever that's right that they just landed. I mean, my God, sometimes, man, life's more about than just the 2 weeks that you're living in right now. It's not just all about living in the moment, man. You got to remember, to me, people's value isn't just, or people's worth and loyalty just isn't on 2 weeks notice, man, or just isn't on like a 2 week ticket. It's based off of what they've done in your life and how much they've impacted you in your lifetime throughout, a span of just 2 weeks.
That's well stated. I think people need to hear that, opposed to being told. People love to gain knowledge and wisdom and get some advice. Hey, I can relate to that. There is no doubt about it. And right now, I look at where you are in your life. You have aligned with some amazing talents over there at 104.9 The Horn. There's a
great family.
great people under that roof over there, and some talent. Kevin Dunn just left, and he's going to start something bigger and better. But you guys now have a tremendous amount of talent in that building under that roof, and
it feels like an all-star team, to be honest with you.
Really,
I mean, it sucks. It sucks losing Brad and Kevin, but I mean, what you gain with it, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people don't understand how good of a host that Patrick Davis is. Patrick Davis has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with 104.9 The Horn, in just in the production spot and in working in trafficking. And what I mean by trafficking is not talking and reporting about traffic, like talking about getting spots into it's radio jargon. But anyways, now Patrick gets to let his amazing radio voice and talent come to afternoons with Rod and Harge, and that's the other thing too, the advent of Mike Harge coming to the Horn. Like it's good to be at Austin Radio Network right now. It's a good time.
I got to give a big shout out to Harge. He's one of the guys that I onboarded with the stories inside the Man Cave at when we were in like I don't remember how many months into it, but
the gestation period.
Great addition, great person, great heart, absolutely hilarious. He and Rod compliment each other, and you know what? There's some soul on that show, but they keep each other in check. They play off one another. It's a great combination. Great hire.
Well, Chad Hastings is going to have his hands full because that show is going to be crazy.
I'm not a big. I'm usually too busy to listen to these shows, but now I am trying to tune into you guys more so.
Well, we appreciate that. Of course, if you miss any of it, live, you can catch it on the Horn SoundCloud page as well. Every podcast there at hornfm.com and on the SoundCloud page.
It's the same thing. That's what's the beauty of the world we live in.
Right, man.
Same thing with this. If you miss this, it's going to be on our Facebook and YouTube pages. And man, speaking of, you say we got to level up, which is true. New partnership / sponsor, manscaped.com. And it's a beautiful thing. And if you don't know what manscaping is, it's pretty self-explanatory. And first off, just real one sentence. Are you a manscaper?
Me? 100%. I got it for Christmas.
So
I did. I trim the hedges every day.
Trim the hedges, baby. So
not every day, but every week.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
So the product that I got, Sean, my wife got me the lawnmower. And I mean,
it mows the lawn.
It takes everything that you need. Now, don't get me wrong. I like being a big burly, masculine man. But my wife might not like that as much. You know what I mean? And of course, sometimes you got.
Not about you.
You let exactly 100% in this type of situation. It is not about you. Sometimes you get that taco meat coming out of there, peeking out of your shirt. You get that little get the hedges, the lawnmower up there. You trim that up, and then maybe you got to go down below too to take care of some of that stuff.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Tell them about that deodorant they got there.
Man, I'll tell you what. I created a video for you.
Is this an OnlyFans?
This is no, not yet. I don't think the audience is ready for the OnlyFans. So we're gonna segue to a segment called Manscaping in the Man Cave. Yeah, we're covering about every topic imaginable here at Man Stories Inside the Man Cave, including Manscaping. Manscaped.com is so popular that they have their own periodical, a newspaper. In their top headline, "We Save Balls," is pretty popular nowadays. And, they really attracted me. So much so that I love the products. And they sent me this entire package I'm going to show you. Well, the premier products of this box I just showed you, the Performance Package 4.0, this bad boy, the Lawnmower 4.0. Take a listen. That is the sound of absolutely tremendous manscaping in the man cave. So today, as you're watching this episode, I encourage you to jump on to manscaped.com and look for the Performance Package 4.0. You'll get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It is smooth, and you just feel like a piece of silk afterwards, and you feel clean. Personally, let me show you what I love the most. Right here, the ball deodorant. I know the light's a little bright here, but the ball deodorant, it smells like sweet mahogany and pheromones.
Mahogany and pheromones.
Yes, baby.
Yes. That was well done. Well done. Did you do that all yourself?
Man, it took me that thing took me an hour and a half.
Yeah, but once you get the template done,
Yeah.
the editing process just kind of flows
Oh,
through.
yeah.
Dude, you did great. That looked great.
No, thank you, man. And as you mentioned,
Mahogany and pheromones.
And if you don't know what that smells like, get the ball deodorant and smell it. Man, you'll leave a trail of sweet mahogany and your pheromones. It's specialized to you.
Right.
That aroma, if you got a good headwind, it carries behind you. It's the manscaped.com aroma. It sells itself.
It does.
It's like what, Cousin Eddie? It's
Hell, Clark, we only need one plate.
only one plate. Hell, he says hamburger helper helps itself.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it hamburger helper. I think it does it just fine on its own. Yeah, man. I am a big fan of the lawnmower. We have it. It's got different settings that we use. Of course, I like to keep a little bit up here. You know what I mean? I don't like to look like my 14-year-old son. Sorry, but I like to keep it, somewhat masculine. But yeah, man, it's got different level settings and it's easy to clean. It's got an LED light too to make sure you can see down there, so you're not sniffing up. And it's got a safety guard on there too, to where you ain't gonna nick yourself or anything like that. It's got a cool little fine hair brush to get out all the little hairs and in the nooks and crannies too, man. So easy to clean, very simple.
It is, and with Valentine's Day quickly approaching, and even if you want a belated Valentine's Day gift, this is well worth it. Because we all know that big old guy. Well, he's not big, but the guy, Cupid is portly, right? Would you describe Cupid as portly?
Burly guy.
The burly guy named Cupid, he works hard in February. But our friends at manscaped.com, they're working harder than ever to ensure your Valentine's Day is one to remember, even post-Valentine's Day. Don't turn this day of romance into Independence Day this year and get in control with their Performance Package 4.0, which includes their signature lawnmower 4.0, which the Wags mentioned and you saw on the piece before this. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and then order that. Then use this code right here. You see it? ManCave20 for 20% off and free shipping. Contrary to popular belief, love is not blind. And you can't see past the love jungle. Do it. Buy it. I do it. And I use this bad boy right here. I can't seem to find it, but it's a weed whacker right here. It's for your nose.
Oh, there it is.
Right here, those unsightly strands of fishing string that does not look good at all.
Nah, man, you don't want to repel off of it, do you? You don't want something that you can repel. Trust me, I repelled in the military. You don't want to repel off your nose hairs.
No, don't do it. So go to manscaped.com, 20% off. Use ManCave20 as your promo code, and you'll be glad you did, and it's well worth it. So let's transition here to the best part of segment one with the Adam Wags Wagner, the Man Cave story, sponsored by the Westlake OG himself, Jim Saxton, State Farm Insurance Agent. Log on to SaxtonInsurance.com. Wags, is it even remotely possible to limit it to one man cave story that involves your life in sports, UT as a student, and as a member of the United States Marine Corps?
Yeah, I can do one. I think probably the coolest kind of culmination for all three of those, I guess, institute like sports, the
Right.
military, and UT. When it all culminated for me, I was the president of the Student Veteran Association at the University of Texas, and this was we still had Coach Strong at the time, and it was Veterans Day, and I remember for the first time, like I don't think this probably still gets done today, but
Right.
I didn't notice it the year before, but they brought in the student veteran officers to come on the field, like for the game. And I remember, I think we were playing TCU, as a matter of fact, or it might have been West Virginia. I can't remember. Oh, it was West Virginia,
I
WVU.
remember this.
And I was able to come on the field, and we were, honored for being veterans and everything. And it was the first time that I can remember all three, like football, the military, and the University of Texas, all coming together just in one spot. Like, of course, you have those dreams of you're going to be able to play football at the University of Texas, or
100%,
or basketball. But sometimes dreams don't pan out the way that you want them to, and you got to pivot. And you got to find the right avenue of approach or lane to go down in life. And I guess this lane just saw me on the football field as the ambassador of the Student Veteran Organization for the University of Texas, which is not a bad organization to be a part of.
No, I
just wanted to put those tight pants on.
Well,
no, man, coming out in the icy whites, man, or the stormtroopers, dude. Like that was always like wearing the burnt orange, man. That was always, a dream. But
it is a dream. It's a dream.
It's a dream that a lot of people have, bro.
Yeah, and those icy whites on the road and those pants. It stood the test of time. There's only a few programs in the country, as you know, that you just don't alter the uniform.
Well, the thing is, too, 100%, you don't mess with it, right? Because it doesn't need to be messed with. It sells itself, as you like to say. But it's and this is hard to say coming as a Baltimore Oriole fan and hating the Yankees my entire life. But Texas, like it or not, they're the New York Yankees of college sports. It's the biggest brand. It's the biggest logo. It's the most profitable logo. I believe Kyle Umlag, he's a great follow on Twitter.
He great work.
Does fantastic. He's got a lot of stats to give, a lot of facts and information as well. He produced something that the Longhorn logo pulls in about $1.1 billion a year, bigger than any other market in collegiate sports. They are the Yankees, man.
Facts.
They are the Yankees.
We just need
to be part of the Yankees.
Just need the football program and a couple other areas to.
I believe it's all going to come together. It's a very fun and exciting time for to be a fan of collegiate sports or Texas sports. But remember, man, we gotta. I think the biggest thing with me in terms of the Texas fan base is just realistic expectations, tempering your expectations. You're not going to win the national championship every year. I mean, my God, when Chris Beard got here, we were talking about, the Longhorns, going to, the Final Four in March Madness. I think tempering that down to hopefully getting to the Sweet 16, and anything past that is just bonus. You're on house money. I think that's a more realistic expectation.
Well,
the football, like Sarkisian coming here, Sark's coming here in first year. Oh, we're gonna win the national championship. We ain't won the Big 12 in excuse my language, in I can't even tell you how long. It's been a while since we won the Big 12. The Oklahoma's kind of had the reins at it. And then you get all this knee jerk reaction to us going to the SEC. Now we're gonna win the SEC. Pump the brakes, guys. Pump the
baby steps.
Brakes. Exactly. Crawl, walk, run, man. Let's get there. We'll eventually get there, man. But I think the most important thing is just to keep the expectations realistic, to temper it down a little bit, and to be patient. You can't get into these cycles where you're bringing in a new coach every 3 or 4 years, because ultimately you're just doing a disservice to your program. That coach wants his guys, their guys. They don't want to work with toys that are hand-me-downs, or at least I wouldn't, right? I would want to go out there and have the people that I want to freshly pick, the personnel that I want for my system. And the thing that I loved about Sarkisian is he didn't, and you're seeing this with Beard too, like you're seeing these new coaches have the fabric of their philosophy being implemented into their offense, but they understand their personnel. They understand the fact that they can't just implement that 100. You got to take what you're given, work with the pieces that you're given. And I think you have to allow patience with that. You at least have to allow 2 to 3 years to get their flow to come in, to get their philosophy to actually start to arise. And once that takes surface, then I think we're gonna have a very well organized garden at the university.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The arrogance has got to stop. The weird Texas mentality must end. I think they've got the alignment is there. Board of Regents,
sure,
president, AD, football coach, baseball coach, basketball coach, and go down the list for women's sports. You've got everybody that you need now. That was not in alignment, and I know that's a cliche, but it was not aligned for a long period of time.
You're right, dude. The seeds have been planted. Let the damn garden grow.
And use manscaped.com products.
And trim those hedges up.
Trim the hedges.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we're going to talk about some Super Bowl related storylines, and we're going to pay a visit to left field at Ditchfork Field, if you will.
Right. Oh man, you got beer? You got enough beer?
Man, I've got black coffee, espresso, baby. It's
Well, I heard you need at least a fifth of Fireball just to get in the damn
Fireball at least before the first pitch. You need that for sure. You're coming with me to a couple of those games, by the way.
Don't throw me with a good time, baby.
Good time, baby. Wags, Adam Wags Wagner from 104.9 The Horn. He's an entrepreneur. He's a Semper Fi for life. We're going to hear more from him on the other side of this break if everything works well, technically. Here we go. We'll see you on the other side. For all of your insurance needs, look no further than our primary sponsor, Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. The ATX OG has been insuring Austin for over 3 decades. And get this, Jim Saxton is a Longhorn legacy. He is the son of the late, great James Saxton, who was a Heisman finalist. Be sure to give him a call, or better yet, visit his website, saxtoninsurance.com, and tell him that the stories inside the Man Cave Boys recommended you. Man, I love dramatic pieces of video like that. Super Bowl LVI. I know those are Greek letters, but
56, baby.
56. It's a beautiful thing we have, and you saw the 2 quarterbacks, that being Matt Stafford and our guy Joe. And I love the stat, by the way, that there's only 2 other Joes quarterbacks who have won a national championship in college and the Super Bowl. Joe Namath, Joe Montana. Could it be Joe Burrow to make the hat trick of Joes, or the threesome, so to speak?
The trifecta.
Trifecta, baby.
The Holy Trinity here. I have Cincinnati winning it tomorrow. I just think so. To me, Sean, here's a lot of things that will likely happen tomorrow, right? Ramsey's going to be traveling and going on Jamar Chase. He will be covering Jamar Chase. So most of the time, and you see this in big games too, like you see this in national championship. Well, not so much in college national championship, because usually the best team on the team on the floor is the point guard, and the point guard's the catalyst for any basketball team that makes a deep run to the Final Four. But usually, you really, excuse me, I lost my train of thought there.
That's all. It happens.
What the hell were we talking about there?
Well, we're talking about Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Jamar. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Yeah,
I'm here for you.
Don't do drugs, kids. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But usually the twos really have better games than the ones most of the times in these big types of events or sporting events like the Super Bowl or hell, national or Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? Usually like the second line. I remember when Washington made their dominant their championship run, their fourth line was the dominant line, not their first line with Ovechkin and Backstrom. It was their fourth line with Smith Pelly and a few other guys that I'm blanking on. But anyways, the point is that Jamar Chase might not have the biggest game out there. So look for your prop bets like T. Higgins, Samaje Perine to get a touchdown on the goal line. I mean,
local kid.
He's a local, very low, Pflugerville, right? I believe Pflugerville High School.
Pflugerville Hendrickson.
Pflugerville Hendrickson. Thank you. But thank you very much for that. But no, it's like it's just taking the prop bets that are likely, right? Like Samaje Perine, he might be the two, but he's in on goal line situations. I know Joe Mixon's had tremendous success in terms of the 2021-2022 season, but in goal line situations, you could have a Samaje Perine getting the tote for the goal line carry. Also, T. Higgins. Like T. Higgins should be well over his prop bet in terms of yardage. The prop bet for Joe Mixon to run the ball on the ground, if he has more than 65.5 yards, if he gets 66 yards, the return on investment on that on FanBook is really nice. I don't know what your rules are in terms of giving odds on the show or not, but maybe you have to call your cousin or tune into the Wagner Wire tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll give you all the news and notes and nuggets that you need for that. But that's a great prop bet there. And also too, like for the first to score, that's a really fun bet that a lot of people try to chime in on in terms of Super Bowl Sunday. A lot of people have Cooper Kupp going on right now. I mean, he's got a good return on investment there. Yeah. But to me, I mean, you got to take a running back. And I just think it's highly more logical that a running back scores first than the wide receiver. So to me, I think, and especially in I know it's a quarterback-driven wide receiver high points league, but usually what happens in big games is that you see tendencies zig when they're supposed to be zagging. And maybe I've just been under the tutelage of Bill Belichick in big games for too long to think, oh my God, they're going to come out and throw for 300 yards. But then they ultimately run for 100 and 150 or 200 yards. I mean, look, it's the biggest game. So coaches usually try to play a little bit more conservative, right? Because it's just natural. And then all of a sudden, when panic mode does start to happen, hopefully that doesn't happen for the coach, but knee-jerk reactions happen throughout the game because that's situations dictate. You start to get less conservative and more risky, when survivability happens and takes place. So.
No, that's a good transition. But before you talk about who's going to take more risks, who's going to, flourish in that environment. Before we hear from a guy who I think can handle that, I want to bring up one of our sponsors or one of our partners, that is, and that being these guys right here, Farmhouse Delivery, right here. They're Austin-based, and they source Texas ranches and farms for organic produce and Texas raised meats. But they also have what you see right there, ideal for Valentine's Day. They partnered with local businesses here in the ATX area. I know everybody loves chocolate covered strawberries.
Oh yeah.
And they are good partners of ours. And I'm going to hide this. I want you to see this photo. Look at that. You still have time. Go to farmhousedelivery.com and order what you see in that picture for your loved one or your special lady friend or your special guy, whatever. We don't discriminate because everyone should have, if you're going to celebrate Valentine's Day, you got to get something for each other, right? And why not farmhousedelivery.com? Use the promo ManCave, 20% off of your first order. Strawberry. Listen, chocolate covered strawberries. You can eat those year round. Isn't chocolate an aphrodisiac?
That's what I was getting ready to say, man. It'll spice everything up, brother.
So you were
Make
talking
it
about
sweet and sultry.
sweet and sultry, and hey, get some dark chocolate.
Absolutely.
With sea salt, man. That'll impress whoever you're interested in.
You've been reading some of them love novels, hadn't you? New York Times bestseller. Ain't they all New York Times #1 sellers?
All of them. Every last one of them.
Every one of them is a New York Times #1 seller. I'm going to write a book. It'll be New York #1.
New York #1. I want to write a 5-page short story, and I want to get it to New York Times #1 real quick. Real quick. Hey, there's a quarterback who in this game from the Dallas area, Matt Stafford.
Highland Park.
And speaking of, this is what he said when he was asked about the Highland Park crew making the trip out there to L.A. to watch him. This is what Stafford had to say about that, because it's been a long journey for him reaching his first Super Bowl.
It means a bunch. You know, I have a bunch of great friends and family still in the area back home in Dallas, and you know, the fact that they're, you know, willing to come out here and support me is, you know, something I won't take for granted. I understand that it's a big commitment, and I appreciate it so much. So many great memories with those guys. You know, just so cool that they can experience this with me after supporting me over all these years.
So, man, isn't that he's a class act, and for those who don't know this, he's the fastest to reach 45,000 yards passing. And he was both these quarterbacks, Burrow, as you know, Burrow and Stafford are both former #1 NFL draft picks. I mean, Burrow's been very cool, calm, collected this year. He's been sacked a lot. But
after coming off of that injury too last year, Sean. I mean, it's, you know, nothing. The next snap's not guaranteed, right? Especially when you're coming off of a crazy injury like that. And Burrow has shown time and time. Even remember his junior year when he got laid out, almost crucified in that Florida Atlantic game. And
LSU,
yeah. When he was at LSU, he threw a pick six and got destroyed. After that, he threw 3 touchdowns and 400 yards. And they lost the game.
Yeah.
But the next year, he was the Heisman Trophy winner.
I just think it's amazing. The kid to do that, you can't just say, "Well, he had good talent around him."
He's got perseverance, is what
perseverance. He's got it right here and up here.
He does,
because not everybody has it.
And it's like I just said, man. You know, tough people last, not tough times.
That's exactly right. One thing that I want to show you, and you've already talked about, you're going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals to upset the Rams. I would love to see Stafford get it. I just think the Bengals they're just too cool right now.
I think they got the better twos at the moment. Now, that's no slouch to OBJ. You know what I mean? Like, OBJ is one hell of a wide receiver, but I don't think that they're on the same rapport that T. Higgins and Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd are. I think Cincinnati's got way more pieces. And I've been saying this for eight weeks now, almost 2 months now, that the Bengals were going to win.
Yeah, I see it happening. Let me pull this right below so I can show you what we're talking about. This is all you need to know when people talk about, oh, you got to be a 5-star, 4-star. I want y'all to look at the rosters. Yes, there are some former 4 and 5 stars, but this right here says it all. Where are all the Super Bowl players who from both the Bengals and the Rams? What state leads the way? Adam?
Texas,
baby.
Yeah, 100%.
16 from the great state of Texas. And not all of them were 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school. I just wanted to point that out. I believe this is from Max Preps. When you see something like this, I mean, I know it's not shocking, but what else can you pull from this fact?
Well, it's very, to me, I look at a stat like this, and of course, you know, the 3-star, the 4-star player ratings, it's also subjective, right? To me, what I see on that map is I see hope. There's a lot of players out there, you know, wondering, you know, can I make an impact? Do I have to be a 5-star talent to be in the NFL?
Right.
The answer's no. It's simply no. You have 2-star, you have 3-star, 24/7 rankings that are playing in the NFL, that not just playing in the NFL, they're playing at high caliber, and they're doing it consistently. So to me, I would say keep grinding. That map, that demographic right there, to me symbolizes hope.
I do too. I think I saw that and I was absolutely stunned by that. And it doesn't surprise me, but just to actually see it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no shock that Texas is in the lead. I mean, my prep days were in Maryland, and when I played high school football there, I thought we had decent support.
Yeah, of course you did.
Community
good
support,
talent.
but we didn't have the booster system like the Texas, football program, and not just Texas football. It's prep sports all in general down here in Texas. The booster community, and that's what I believe the Booster Club does. It really connects the community together.
It does.
And that was lacking up in Maryland, or at least what I was seeing.
Yeah.
You come down here and you hear, it's the mecca of high school football, and you hear, you see, Friday Night Lights, Peter Berg's production of Friday Night Lights. Is this what high school's really like? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. This is exactly what Friday Night Lights is for Texas football prep. Texas prep.
It is. It's so essential. And, if you want to go, because we're here in Austin, for those watching other parts of the country, yes, football's big here, but it's just like any other inner city school district, AISD, you need these booster clubs more so than
100.
other districts, because inner city school districts, they
like the funding. They like the funding.
They like the funding. And it's just the booster clubs are essential. And you do have an imbalance. Some schools within these districts are able to raise more, and that's just the way it is.
And it's so essential to the program, to the school, to the kids developing their talents too, because we would have to, when I was going to school at Baltimore Polytech in Baltimore City, we would have to leave and get out of school around 2:00 because we didn't have lights, and we didn't have the city did not put together, or the ISDs did not put together stadiums like they do here in Austin, or they do in ISDs all throughout Texas, to where teams share, or schools share stadiums. You played at your home stadium. There was not the funding in Maryland to house anything like that they have in Texas here, or to foster anything like that. So you would have to get out of school at like 2 p.m. You'd miss science class. You know what I mean? You miss half of your. Now, it wasn't that taxing. You could, you had a lot of leeway with your professors or with your teachers or whatnot, but still, the fact that you had to get the game done before the sun went down, just because there wasn't lights. You know what I mean? And this was 1999.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too long ago. It was long ago, but I mean, hell, I think the 70s is when we started getting lights.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Around prep schools,
Yeah, lights it cost them a lot of money.
Sure, yeah.
To put on these games. People think, oh, just flip on the switch. Well, somebody's got to pay that electricity to the city. Wags, I know we won't go into detail about it, but the week started really well for the Texas men's basketball program. A huge win over.
And it was a wild week too in college basketball too, brother.
Right.
There were a lot of upsets, man.
Yeah.
Starting off with number 3 UCLA falling as well.
Yeah, and it's just everybody's positioning now to improve their resumes. They got to rise up. So Texas did lose today, as we were on this episode to Baylor, got manhandled. We won't have time to get into it, but we want to talk about they got the big win over Kansas. Then they got fined $25,000 for this. So I loved it. I mean, I understand you got to at least protect the other visiting team, that no one gets hurt because you don't trust people. But that's a little excessive, in my opinion. 25.
I mean, 25,000 for knocking off arguably the top. Well, they are the top program in your conference as far as
history.
Basketball, but they're also one of the top blue blood college basketball programs in the nation. I mean, this is Kansas, dude. And I know we didn't win at Fog Allen. but you're still hosting the top college basketball program in your conference. And the Big 12 conference is arguably the best conference in college basketball.
Yeah.
It's a huge win. You're telling students not to be students at this point. I mean, and everyone knows probably the biggest advantage in terms of college sports is college basketball, the home court advantage. So, and just being a Maryland, growing up being a Maryland fan, it's hard as hell to win. It was hard as hell for Maryland to win, against Duke, just because of how raucous the crowd was at Cameron Indoor, like the Duke crazies. You know what I mean? So, to me, I welcome that type of environment as long as no one's getting hurt and the safety is still the standard. $25,000, that's whatever. I mean, it's expected because we're Texas, right?
Yeah. And well, you could be like Arkansas, who they stormed the floor in Fayetteville at Bud Walton Arena after they knocked off.
They just beat Auburn,
and I get it. I totally get it. But they now owe $250,000.
Yeah,
because it's the third time. I think they're counting all sports. I was there for the Texas game in Fayetteville, by the way. Great to see family up there, but I had the most miserable experience at that game. Arkansas fans are passionate. They're great. But you talk about a home field advantage, and to have them storm that's how much it meant to them. They stormed the field.
Yeah,
I had a miserable time because there were 3 fights evaded, but that's been discussed on other episodes. But Wags, I will say this: despite that fine, the whole and put a bow on this that win over Kansas, despite the Horns losing today against Baylor, it wasn't even close.
And I mean, but you also, it was in Waco, and it's the number 10 team in the nation,
right?
And they can hoop, man. Scott Drew's got that program where it needs to be. I mean, come on, they're one of the top teams in the country
and defending national champions. I don't like to say that because the year ends at the whenever the calendar year. It's a different team, right? It's never the defending champions are never really the defending champions unless they have that same roster. That's the logic that I always say. But I get really too petty into that shit or into that stuff. Yeah, I do too. And
they are the defending national champions.
Yeah,
nobody's beating Gonzaga though.
How can I say this? They've had some guys injured and back in the lineup. I think they returned today. And
Baylor was missing a couple of their key players too.
That's the thing. That's what I was trying to allude to. And I think it's amazing that where they have come and been able to maintain without some of those players. And that tells you everything. Want to switch gears to college baseball. And Texas preseason number 1 in the country. But we're going to have a feature story that's going to drop at noon on Sunday. We're going to call it a Stories Inside the Man Cave production. I recently dropped the first one on that on Willie Wells, the Negro League legend, who's a baseball Hall of Famer. Anderson High School's field's now named after him. You can see that on our social media platforms. But Occupy Left Field is one of the great pieces of college baseball.
Stable.
100%. Mississippi State has all the SEC schools have great environments. Arkansas, Mississippi State, LSU. Florida State, and there's a lot of other ones, but Occupy Left Field has been around since I want to say 2008. But they have now, Wags, you know all about this.
Yeah, Mark does a phenomenal job over there.
He does a great job, and he and former Horns like Justin Simmons, Brooks Kieschnick have collaborated and have formed a name, image, likeness group because it is necessary because college baseball is underfunded. Let's hear from Mark, and this will be a part of the piece which you will see on our social media platforms beginning tomorrow, which is Sunday on the day of this podcast.
We want the players to be in the community as well. We feel like that is an organic way to really grow enthusiasm around the program. We want them in local charities, helping our community get better, finding opportunities to help people that need help here in Austin. And then obviously, right, college athletics is it's a new world now, and to be competitive with other schools, you really have to be thinking about ways to get the players involved and to give them opportunities.
Spoken like a true professional right there.
Yeah.
And you know what? It wouldn't be a Mark soundbite without him having a damn beard with Occupy Left Field. he didn't even break stride, man. He was just he should be the damn mayor too at some point. Both of you guys should be running. You could have excellent campaigns.
Oh my God, Mark Pena, stoic. Not one camera is going to phase that guy. It's like who is? Oh my God, why am I losing train of thought on Bob Dole?
Oh yeah,
hold that pen for a reason, but Mark just holds that koozie and beer can.
It don't move, man. Very stoic. Very stoic.
Oh, it's unreal. But he's right. And if people don't know, college baseball is severely underfunded. There's very few revenue-generating programs. 11.7 scholarships. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but 30 to 35 kids have to split that.
Yeah, it's
tough. Such bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's very tough. I think what Mark is doing is tremendous. You're starting to see collegiate athletes start to cash in on their name, image, and likeness. All in most sports, mostly football, right, and basketball. Right. But we're really not seeing it for baseball. And Mark being not just a great ambassador for the sport, but being an advocate for these athletes as well. I wouldn't want anyone else to represent me in terms of an organization working outside of the collegiate program with the University of Texas. I think Occupy Left Field, I think they do a tremendous job, and Mark's right. I mean, you have to bring more attention, more revenue to the college athlete, to the baseball athlete, right? And getting them involved with the community is going to be very easy in terms of, the Austin 40 acres, because honestly, a lot of people see this as a football school or a basketball school, but it's been dominating the baseball world, the baseball collegiate world for what, 60 years?
Over
100, honestly.
I would think, yeah.
It like people joke and say it's DBU, Austin's defensive back university. It's not, dude. It is baseball university. Like it is the standard, the number one winningest program in terms of history of college baseball. It's the most trips to Omaha. I mean, the pedigree speaks for itself. And I think what Mark is doing with Occupy Left Field to generate more revenue for baseball athletes at University of Texas is much needed and going to be very well welcomed.
So you're absolutely spot on that. If you go to a Texas baseball game, I highly encourage it. Obviously, they're more fun when it's at least 60 degrees. Because it is the coldest spot in Austin, Texas, because
that wind just howls at you, bro. The wind just gets you.
Oh, it's freaking awful. But go to left field, pay them a visit, be respectful, and introduce yourselves, and you'll be hooked. That's how it happened for me. I just introduced myself years ago, and now I feel like it's just it feel like a family almost.
That's what it is. It's a family environment. Of course you're going to have a fun time and talk baseball, but I mean you're essentially there. It's almost like a family reunion, and you're watching the damn baseball game while the TV's on in the living room. It
is. And most of those guys, I would say almost all of them, they have season tickets as well, just to contribute to the program. But they choose that's their home, if you will, and learn more about that coming up tomorrow on Occupy Left Field. It's going to be fun, and we'll learn more about the Occupy Left Field Foundation, which will afford these Texas baseball players opportunity to volunteer with organizations such as the one that is dear to me, RBI Austin, and earn up to $10,000 a year, and that is pretty significant. And one thing I do have to say, Wags, before I forget it, because I forget things more often than not.
Same here, yeah.
They're encouraging people to you can donate on that website, Occupy Left Field Foundation, but make a residual gift that's going to last like $20 a month. Commit to it, and that's going to last longer than one big donation.
Sure.
And this
sustainability,
and it's just one of those sports where they may be tremendous, but they need help to compete now. That NIL is such a big deal.
Hey, you know what? A perfect game is 27 outs. A perfect endorsement, a perfect donation would be 27 months.
Woo. Man, I like you, man. You're dropping knowledge.
I got a thing for marketing. I'm just saying.
You'd be an asset. You are an asset. Don't let anyone tell you you're not.
I'm an asset.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
Tell me something good. It's sponsored by our guy, Kevin Hutchison at Realty Austin. Let's wrap things up, my friend. What do you have that is positive to influence the masses of why things are good in your world?
It's pretty simple for me, right? We've been talking, especially in the first segment of the show. It's about finding your career, finding your alignment, finding your path, right? And sometimes you might have to realign. And we talked about, that little analogy of Frogger. Life's like opportunity, and you got to level up. Well, sometimes you might not be going, down the right avenue of approach that you want, and sometimes you might feel like you got to jump ship, and that feeling that you get, that almost reluctancy or that fear, that you feel in your gut where you want to jump, but you're just so damn afraid.
Yeah.
Jump. I'm telling you, jump. If you're not happy with where you're at, remember your value, remember your wealth. All right. Remember how much you bring to the table. You are an asset. I'm an asset. Sean's an asset. Market yourself and get out there and create your new avenue of approach. I didn't like where I was going in the entertainment industry. I'm still in the entertainment industry, but I wanted more money. It's not as lucrative as you like to think. It's not as glamorous as you like to think. And sometimes it's coming full circle. It just opens up the other doors of opportunity, or the other lily pads that come down the river there for Frogger, right? You got to make sure you're jumping on the right one. Don't be afraid to jump. Get your ass out there. You are an asset.
You're an asset. That's sage advice by our guy, Wags. What I've got for you, Wags, and to all of you wonderful people who have followed this podcast journey of stories inside the man cave, thanks for helping me grow. And I'm listening to all of you guys. And we're trying to add more elements, such as the feature stories, the productions, if you will. Thank you for guys like Wags who add a lot of value to the content here. I'll tell you something good. I think a lot of people, and I've noticed in society, I love the fact that more people are listening more than speaking. We don't see those people because you see media showing those who react and want to influence in the most negative way, but tune that out. Look around your world, man. People are wanting to make efforts to not only help each other, but to help this world get back on track. And I think it's happening.
Yes, sir.
I really do.
My brother, walk, run, my man. Slowly but surely, we'll get back.
Strength in numbers. We're going to bring it back, babe. Wags, this is long overdue, man. I appreciate you. These are usually about 45 minutes long, but man, an hour and 10 minutes with you is going by like that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me. I'd love to come on any other time, man.
Man, and we will work together on that, and be sure to follow him. The Wagner Wire, is that correct, on Twitter?
The Wagner Wire on Instagram. We are on Twitter, but I never monitor that account. The show's got a Twitter account. It is the Wagner Wire, but my Twitter handle is not the fake Wags.
Right.
That's where you can connect with me directly. And also, don't forget to listen to the show on the Horn, 9 a.m. to noon every Sunday, man. Bringing you the best. I'm the consultant you need to put all the green that you need in your pocket.
Listen to the guy. Brilliant. In those 3 hours on Sundays, they go by much faster.
Yeah, it's not just a gambling show either. We call it the 4 pillars of life, right? You got sports, music, movies, and video games. Maybe not all in that order, but they're the 4 pillars of life that really hold up the Wagner wire.
I love it. This guy grinds and he hustles and he's doing it for you. Follow him and listen on Sundays on 104.9 The Horn. Guy hustles on everything. He's grinding and he puts a lot of work and effort in with his guests too.
Well, a party, baby. It'll be a party.
It is a party, and he'll bring you energy stronger than this cup of coffee right here. For Wags and for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Big Mike, Hardball Harge, and Coach Mo, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and a giddy up.